It is. Good afternoon, everyone.
Well, there.
I would like to call the Clackamas Community College Board Work Session to order. Today is Wednesday, October the 15th, 2025. And it's around 6:00 p.m. I'll turn this over to Vice President Jeff Schaefer to get us started. Jeff.
Hello, good evening. I'm here. I'll introduce myself. I'm Vice President Jeff Schaefer, Vice President of Finance and Operations. And I'm here with a helper with my bond presentation. If you want to introduce yourself.
Dale Kuykendall, Winnaha Group, Program Managers.
All right, thank you for having us. And we have a presentation that I'm going to bring up to the screen now. Sorry, I'm getting it ready. Okay. So it's a summary of our 2024 bond election that went through the election last fall. And I wanted to give a summary of the financial pieces here as the opening slide, and then the rest of this will be a summary of our projects and a summary of the overall program. And then we'll have some time for questions, Q&A, and along with Dale will help out with any of the details along the way here as things come up. So wanted to start out with a financial summary. So we had that election in November of 2024, and we sold those bonds on April 1st, 2025. Those bond proceeds were $120 million in total. We actually issued $148.3 million, but that included $28 million of refinancing. So that was more of a technical piece because we were moving bonds around in order to make the issuance work for a new series of 20 years. We ended up getting $14 million in total premiums on those bonds. So that was a big plus. That was a very large amount of premiums. Part of it was timing. Part of it was really our good credit rating and a lot of the good things that came out of just our financial situation right before that bond issuance. Cost of issuance is a little over $1 million, so it costs a lot of money to issue bonds because of the elements that go into that. And then the net of that is around $133 million that we get to use for projects. So that's really our starting point for where we can allocate to all those projects. Also wanted to note that we have State of Oregon capital bonds. So the last legislative session, they approved $8 million of matching bonds for our Natural Resources Center of Excellence buildings. So that added $8 million into that budget as well for that project. And also wanted to note that we're still working on those calculations of possible interest earnings, but they could be as much as $3 million over the life of the bond, given the current interest rates we have. So, and another quick note that we are required by the IRS regulations to spend somewhere around 85%, which is 113 million of that 133 million within the first 3 years of the bond. So that's why you see a lot of things moving quickly, is we really have to be able to show a plan to spend those funds down quickly.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Wasn't there some talk of jacking that 8 million match up to like 14 million?
There was.
Will we be able to capitalize on that with any
We
of
would
this?
be able to in the next project if we were to go in for the next group. So that's legislative authority that goes in for the next biennium's allocation. So meaning if, for example, the Wilsonville project, if we decided on the Wilsonville project that it's going to have a big enough scope to apply for something like state matching bonds, we would have a larger pot of money to deal with. Not sure that that would even be enough to be asking for 14 million, but the idea there is that they bump that 8 million threshold up. So we were a little bit, unfortunately, or fortunately, we were a little bit early in the fact that we did get the 8 million, but it's right before in the legislative session before they bumped it up to a $14 million cap. So we can't retroactively ask for more money at this
We're
point.
talking 2 years from now, maybe.
Yeah, 2
Right.
years from now would be the next biennium that
Yeah.
takes effect.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So we're splitting these into a couple different themes here. We have our Wave 1 projects that we're currently working on, which are the Natural Resources Center of Excellence, our Llewellyn maintenance yard improvements, the Douglas Loop Walking Trail, and our athletics facilities and grandstands. And then the next wave of projects that we will be getting going here pretty soon are going to be the McLaughlin renovations, renovations to Dye, a central plaza and walkway improvements, expansion of our welding center, the Challenger Center, and the Wilsonville campus upgrades. And so we have slides on each of these so you can get more details. We also had some buckets for ongoing projects, such as our deferred major maintenance. We've already had a couple projects going on with that, such as our Wachino Welcome Center roof, and we're doing some HVAC upgrades with that as well. We have a bucket for energy efficiency projects and a bucket for our IT upgrades, and then a bucket for safety and security upgrades. So those are some of our main themes that we are allocating all these projects to. So first project, wanted to give you, this is one of the keystone projects of the bond, is the Natural Resources Center of Excellence. Actually has a fairly large budget because of that state matching funds and we just recently are working on an MOU with the Oregon State University Extension Program of Clackamas. They're going to partner with us on that building and have probably around a 1/3 footprint in that building, with us being 2/3. So it's going to be a partnership in that space. So they're contributing around $15 million for their portion of that. And then the timeline on that will be, right now we're working on design. That goes all the way through pretty much the end of the academic year. And then we will finally get into construction likely by next summer, next fall. And then that takes over a year to actually build that building and get that site to the point where we're ready to do ribbon cutting. Hopefully we're aiming for the end of spring of 2028. So that's the Keystone project. And as you can see off to the right, put one of our initial pictures that we had, which if you can see, that's up near the Beaver Creek Road entrance. So that's by the Claremont entrance and the light off of Beaver Creek Road right there. So it would be right north of that Claremont. And the next slide I added here, if you can see, that has a little bit of what that might actually look like. We actually are getting to the spot now where where's that building going to be located? Where would the work yard for our greenhouses and our different horticulture work yards be? And what might that entry plaza, the parking lot? So that's a little bit of a sneak preview of what that space might look like out there in the Natural Resources Center. So we can take questions as we go along. Any questions on that project? I know it's a big project for us.
Expecting a gain in students over this whole thing?
I don't know that we've had the discussion as to whether there's going to be growth. I do know the current design is to take our current horticulture, wildland fire, and arboriculture and organic farming programs and move them into that space. But I would assume that if you build a really nice space for those programs, that it could add for growth. So we are planning for that expansion capabilities in that building. So I don't know if you have any thoughts.
Yeah, I was just going to add, it gives us opportunity to grow, particularly things like wildland fire that have been constrained in horticulture, and then going into wave 2, looking at the welding expansion.
Constrained due to space?
Space.
Okay.
Mhm.
Jeff, what's the approximate occupied space square footage on that on the main building? Just
I think
roughly?
40,000 square feet is around what we're targeting right now. And we're still going to get into that actual design
got
work.
it.
So it's more bubbles right now that
Yep.
we're working on for square footage. Okay. Next project is the Douglas Loop Walking Trail. So this is about a $2 million budget. Tried to do our best to outline that trail. You can see the blue line is where there's going to be new pathway. There's already quite a bit of existing pathway on our south side of campus around the Barlow Blue parking lot and a little bit next to Desjardins on the south side. So this is really to get us kind of curb tight with the Douglas Loop roadway all the way from pretty much from where the farmer's market is up there in the northwest corner up there by Claremont, all the way around the top of the north side of campus and come down by where the Malala 213 entrance is. There'll be an improved walkway across that area there with a crosswalk, and then come along the southwest portion over there here by Rook. So that's really the plan for that walkway. And I want to thank Joe for being part of that committee that's been working on that. We've got a lot of good feedback on keeping it ADA accessible and somewhat flat close to the loop. We're adding a couple benches in there. We're right now even working on whether we can put a drinking fountain or something along that pathway. So we've been working on getting that finished on design here, and we're pretty close to finishing that design up, and probably by this December, we're hoping to take that out for permitting. And then construction should be this winter through spring, and then ribbon cutting in late spring. Yeah, it's asphalt. Yep. 2 million. And that one looks like it's going to be on budget, so we're hopeful. So most of these so far, we've been fortunate that they've been on budget. Athletics field, unfortunately, my big black box. Katie was right. She said I may have a hard time showing my video on my live view here, but I'll see if I can find it real quick. Budget of 17 million. You actually already approved this budget, I think 2 months ago at a board meeting. So the timeline for this is we're in design right now. This will be our first groundbreaking, which is happening October 27th. So coming soon, we'll be doing a groundbreaking out here. And then we'll start construction this fall. And that will really go through next fall with various projects, starting off with baseball, softball here this fall. And then it will go in and we'll start doing the soccer field and grandstands next after track season. And then ribbon cutting will hopefully be, final ribbon cutting will be fall of 26.
Black box.
No, I do have, if I'm able to, I was not sure if I could share my. Let's go up like this. This is the one, right? Let's see if this works. So we're trying technology on the fly. There you go. All right, so that's a little preview of the central area with the soccer field and the grandstands. And then that upper area up there would be softball. And then here you can see that's the art center that would be up there behind the area up there by our softball and our art center. So that's a little quick preview. And now I got to get back to my presentation. No.
On the upper side of that, on the upper side of the grandstand is a concourse where people can mill around and watch from there if they don't want to take a seat. And there's also going to be an ADA drop-off spot there. What's now a hammerhead for parking behind Art Center becomes a circular drive-through drop-off zone. And then people would park over in the is it yellow lot and walk back in after they've made their drop-offs.
And since we're on athletics fields, did you want to mention anything about where we're at with that? Because we did approve a $17 million procurement model. It was a little bit unique. I know Wade had some questions on it, and we had task orders that we have set up for those, so we can bring those to the board as we get through different tasks like softball, baseball, task orders along the path. I don't know, queue you up for anything you'd like to add on that.
Sure. It is a somewhat unique contracting method. It was procured using cooperative purchasing. The Tarkett company has a pre-bid contract agreement in place that any public entity can tap into and utilize, which is what we've done here. That initial package is a not to exceed amount that was, I don't know, 16.8 million. And our first task order is just been executed today. And that includes kind of the overhead side of the project, bonds, design completion, project management, fences, all of that other kind of stuff is now inked and ready to go. And that's what's triggering this groundbreaking. And then within a couple weeks, we'll have the same kind of package developed for the softball and baseball projects. And that'll lock in another 6 or 8 million, if I recall, of that grand total. The process of pricing this, if you're interested, I'll hit it real briefly. The contract has pre-established bid items for all kinds of things, and they plug all their quantities in, and it spits out a number. And then for things that aren't already in that list, the contract authorizes them to use an estimating guide called RS means. And so that essentially fills in the blanks. That price is, let's say it's for this first package, let's say it was 2 million. The contractor's price has to come in lower than that, otherwise it's not acceptable. And so they provide me all the detail that demonstrates their methodology and calculations, and then eventually we nod our heads and agree, or we send them back for another pass. So it's a interesting process, but it's fairly well prescribed in the contract that they had pre-negotiated with that cooperative purchasing group. So if anybody has any questions on that, either here or at another time, feel free to ask. Right. They need to live within that $16.8 million bucket. They do have the latitude, if they convince us, to shift money from one micro bucket to another within that overall package. So far, this first task order is within the bounds of their estimates.
Okay. All right. And then we have another wave one project was the Llewellyn Maintenance Yard improvements. That's about a $4 million projected budget. That one is currently under design. It's also expected to end somewhere around the end of the calendar year, and we will get into construction in winter and hopefully end in spring, and when ribbon cutting in spring, summer of 26. So those are our current projects we're working on. Overview of those other projects, we have McLaughlin Hall and Dye Learning Center. Those were approved at 50% of their original master plans. So what's going to happen in the next wave here is we will start getting together with the stakeholders of those buildings, and we will start meeting and saying, what is the priority needs of these buildings? The one has a budget of 8.25 million, the other 3 million. In the quad walkway, we're thinking it's sort of related. It's in the general area out there as well. So we may bundle that. We're still looking at what that would look like to bundle all that. That's another $3 million budget. And hopefully those will all start. We're actually going to start planning those this year, with hopefully construction happening somewhere around 2027, beginning construction on those. So those are a next wave of projects to get started, but we haven't even begun our planning yet on those. Another set, we have the Challenger Center and the welding expansion. So these are going to be where we're south of the Claremont. Currently Claremont is the programs that are going into the new Natural Resources Center. So once that's vacated, our plan would be to start designing that Challenger Center. We're also looking at expanding the welding center, and we probably will have to redesign that parking lot out there, because there's right now a bunch of greenhouses and amenities for the Claremont, which likely once we move and have the Natural Resources Center on the north side, we would redesign that area into like, what's the parking need look like, and what's that welding expansion. So that'll be another next wave project as soon as we get through the Natural Resources Center design and all that. So we'll be working on that coming up. And then the other piece here is Wilsonville. We have it as a tentative expansion. It didn't have a lot of definition in our bond development group or even in our master plan. It was just that you could do something more out here. That was pretty much what was in the master plan. So we will likely initiate another, I'm calling it a mini master plan, so that like maybe an expansion of that original master plan on what is the future of Wilsonville site look like? What is the best use of that campus for us? So that'll probably be kicking off here in early 2026 calendar year. And then that'll start letting us define what that project will look like out there. So we'll know if we want to be a big enough project to start asking for state funds for that next wave. So that's coming up after that master planning gets done here. So timeline, again, we'll start planning at this academic year and construction TBD based on how that plan works out. Right, and other ongoing projects, again, a lot of info here, but these are really all those, just to give you a sense of some of those other pieces. The deferred maintenance is a $31 million bucket in total, which includes major maintenance to our projects, along with mechanical engineer or mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and master plan assessment that we did for our buildings. So we're prioritizing all those pieces that came out of that plan and going through and doing a lot of work around all these facilities around the campus. We have technology upgrades, which again was some of the infrastructure. Also, it's helping fund some of these moving ourselves from the on-premise colleague system into the cloud SaaS environment. So it's helping us with that. So that's another bucket. And then we have safety security. A lot of this is going to be more of cameras and access control on doors. That tends to be a lot of where our need is. So we're assessing all of our different infrastructure, buildings, parking lots, and areas around our 3 campuses for using those funds. And then we have our 30-acre property, which we've already purchased now, and it's over there. So really, it's more about stabilization at this point. We're getting it all stabilized and ready for if they were going to future develop it. We want to make sure it's all has all the fencing up and all the right, it's all ready to go. Yeah, Rob.
Have we learned any more about the usability of that property because of the power lines?
We haven't. I will say one of the struggles we have right now is there's an easement that's owned by the next door neighbor from an old railroad that used to go through. The Beaver Creek Railroad used to run through that property, and at some point in time, the neighbors were able to buy that easement. So that neighbor now has like a 70 or 100-foot wide swath right through the middle of that property, which makes it challenging to do much from Douglas Loop side to that property because it kind of banks it so you can get to it from Beaver Creek roadside, but it's really difficult. So that's one of the things. So there are challenges between the lines plus that easement in there that we're working through right now to figure out what is the long-term solution for that property. So I think that may be something we keep working towards. But at this point, we did do one initial assessment that said the parking lines, you could still build around the parking lines, and the parking lines may be more of where your roadways or parking lots or things like that would be if you were to build something there. So, but you just can't build up into those for structures. That makes sense. Because they're only a portion of it. All right, and some of the pieces I wanted to note that we had goals in our last bond. So they were, for those who are around, they were called sailboat. So kind of wanted to remind us that on our last bond, we talked about the SAIL, which were the student applied integrated learning, 1,000 hours of student participation that we achieved 1,973 hours of. And our BOAT program was business opportunities achievement target, which was a goal to get 10% of contract costing using minority and women, emerging small business, and veteran-owned participation. We achieved a 29% mark on that. One of our approaches that we're using for this bond was less about trying to actually set targets and more about how do we embed a lot of this into our work. So we've been more focused on less trying to put a target and 10%, and how can we actually be working into our RFP right now, our CMGC that we have for our Natural Resources Center is embedding questions for the interviews on how are you going to incorporate students into this project. So we're trying to embed it into the actual work we're doing. Similarly, I don't know if you want to speak to it, but we're going out to the community and instead of trying to set a goal on local and minority-owned businesses, we're going out and doing a workshop in the area to help teach them how to submit an RFP for a project so they can be successful in bidding. So I don't know if you have anything, if you want to speak on what that might look like. We haven't set it up yet, but it might be something to mention if you have any thoughts on what that might look like.
Sure. We've been loosely using the word bond fair, and we're thinking about in a month and a half or something in that range. It literally would be a chance to communicate opportunities to the community that might want to participate by bidding or negotiating pieces of the work. That's still a work in progress, and I'm going to work with Casey and one of our own team members that specializes in such things to help us pull that together. Jeff mentioned the RFP. It's for the new building, and the question we've asked is provide us in their proposals, provide us some examples of how you have involved the community at large in your projects, local involvement, student involvement, et cetera. And so as we read these, we received 14 proposals. The market is really hungry right now, which is good for the college. But a lot of reading for the committee, including Mr. Hathorn. So thank you. Anyway, we have lots of good responses to consider, and we will evaluate their response to that question as what are their examples of how they've succeeded in the past. And it's not all about numbers. So Casey is on our committee as well, and she's going to help us with those evaluations.
Yeah, so this is a lot of the work. We're trying to incorporate the Cougar pause into a lot of those major decision points. So that's a lot of the work. We're trying to just embed this work into this versus just setting arbitrary targets that you hear about. We're hoping that we can still track those and report on those in the snapshots, but less about setting a target and more about just reporting how successful we're being and how we're embedding that into this work. So, and with that is it. So what questions do you have?
Questions?
I don't have a question, but I have an idea, like maybe in about 6 months, we could take a work session that involves a walk around or something like that, where we can kind of see what's going on in different places. That would be interesting.
Yeah, we did do a in-service session here during in-service where we did a walking tour. And we
Okay.
started in Llewellyn and talked about the Llewellyn project, went over to where the NRCE site was and talked about that, and then walked through the athletics fields and through the quad and all that. So it was, we could certainly set up something similar. We did it for the in-service tour and it worked out great. Yeah.
There would be more,
Yeah, more sunlight.
yeah.
And projects underway.
Yeah, we might get some projects going by then, so, yeah,
So,
it's great.
be any snow? 6 months, yeah. Any other questions? Thank you, Ryan.
All right,
Very much.
Enough of me.
I think it's good.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'm the next item, so I don't know if you want to formally introduce me.
So I can introduce this topic. So a few months ago, and actually we've been working on this, Jeff and others and presidents have been working with the HEC on a financial monitoring report for the colleges. And you probably aren't aware, but a similar project had been undergone a couple years back with the universities that essentially released reports on the financial health of the universities. And so they followed that up and said, we really want to do that for community colleges. I'd sent you all the outcome of that report, the first report here, I think about a month ago. And we did well. Jeff's going to go over our numbers and the rest. But I thought it was important for you to sort of hear a little bit about how this was developed, how it's going to be used. I'm sort of being preemptive. Let's say, somewhere down the road, there are challenges and some physical health that you'd want to know about, or at least the goal here is that board members, the public, others will be able to look at these reports and not compare colleges. That's not the intention, is that, we're doing better than PCC or one of our neighbors, but to really look at our own health and look at some of the markers for that. So I had asked actually that we do this presentation for you so you know a little bit more about what went into it.
All right, thank you. We'll get us started then. All right, as President Cook mentioned, I thought I'd give a little background. So this was requested by the HEC commissioners, somewhat to duplicate that similar report that they had been doing for the four-year universities. I could even maybe say enough that there was some questions that were happening with one of the community colleges that had to take out loans to make payroll, and it got the HEC saying, gosh, we do this for the 4 years, but how do we really know if any of the 17 community colleges are really like on the cusp of something bad happening? I think that's what started that conversation. And then that led to the commission saying, well, we kind of have this report. How would we do it for community colleges? Immediately, I want to give President Cook his and his peers their due, because they really brought a lot of issues with community colleges don't function quite the same for financial reporting measures that the 4 years do. So they were, I do appreciate that they engaged in the business officers. So myself, along with 3 other business officers and 2 presidents, formed a task force. And over a number of months, we met and said, what are all those different measures that you use and which ones might work for community colleges, and what caveats do we have to have? Because some of them, even if they work, they may not be the same for every community college, because we all have different dynamics with geo bonds and other things like that. So that's a little bit of that preface. And again, this is, as President Cook mentioned, it's really just adds to our another tool in the toolbox. So it's another opportunity for us to have something that's like out there for folks to see and is measuring whether we're looking sustainable or not. And then this enhances our financial visibility into the public so they can actually see how we are looking financially. Here's sort of the summary of that report. The summary of the report was that our enrollment growth looked pretty strong compared to a lot of peers. We were 15% down in enrollment over the last 10 years. And a lot of that obviously was the pandemic drop that put us below that. But and then coming back out of the pandemic, we are plus 21%, so we went clear down and then we came back 21%. So we're still a 15% drop over a 10-year span, but that was actually still in a pretty good spot, and that was as of 2024. So that was one of the things that they rated us as being pretty strong in our enrollment compared to our peers. We also have a composite financial index, which I'll go into, and that is we are sitting at 3.0, which equals financial stability, at least for a college. So that was a good finding. They also noticed that we remain stable on our reliance of state funding. We had no audit issues or sanctions. We have no disruption in our leadership. And overall, they said we're stable across all their metrics. So no signs of financial distress. So it's almost like a scorecard for the college, so to speak, that they said we were stable and they had no concerns with where CCC was sitting right now as a college. So that was at least the overall summary that came out of this report.
Do they have different designations? Extra
They do. I believe it's on the,
superior, anything like
I think I have one slide. I think it's stable and unstable, and I'll have to see if that's on one of the other slides. I can't recall.
I can't remember what the concern was, but there was a lot of discussion that initially was like failing or some other really sort of alarming kind of words. I can't remember what we finally landed on for that.
I think it was,
that,
yeah, unstable. I think there was, yeah, I'd have to go look into that. And it may be in the bigger report where they give like the scorecards. And not a lot of colleges. I mean, there was like, most of the colleges are stable on most of these. So it wasn't, you didn't get to see a large array of those choices. But as mentioned, they had some words that they were using. I think it was at the 4 years, or it was with a Wakubo rating scale that used some words those are pretty strong. It makes it sound like you're about to go under.
It was the 4-year model that we learned from when they brought this forward, the HEC brought this forward, the presidents, we looked at the 4-year model, and they literally had words of failing for some of the universities. And you can imagine seeing, the average layperson or anybody really seeing that in a newspaper article or something else saying your college is failing and not understanding the context. So we talked a lot about what are we trying to achieve here and what do we want to say about any help there. So I can't remember, yeah, you might have it, but I can't remember where we
don't know if
landed.
I have it here. I'll have to see if I have it here somewhere in one of these slides.
Bottom line is there's nothing higher than stable.
I don't think there was anything
Nothing.
higher and stable. I think it was an index meant to not be like you're doing fantastic. It was like meant to be, are you stable or are you having issues where you really need to be
That's correct.
Which
getting,
kind of like the auditors, right?
it is kind of like
they
the
don't
audit.
use flowery language.
You don't get a really, yeah, you never get this beautiful language. You just get that you didn't fail. Yeah. So where we landed, we got together and we landed on two different, like where are our short-term ratios, long-term ratios, and then a financial sustainability index. So we have two ratios that are operating margin and return on net assets. And then we had reserves and viability ratio is the long-term. And then all four of those get combined into one score that I have a slide that kind of summarizes how that gets there. And we'll go through those, but those were where we landed on the ones that we felt had the best representation for community colleges to have meaningful data that could show you some kind of meaningful piece of something to measure over time. The operating margin ratio, which is your net revenues to total revenues, and it really is measuring whether your institution is living within its existing resources. You'll see the green bar, that's going to be where the ideal measure is at, so somewhere between 2 to 4%. We averaged over time 8.5%, and actually all 17 colleges were at 9.5%. So this is one where all the colleges are pretty strong in this revenue. And I think this is just, a lot of this is because we had a lot of federal COVID relief funds. So there was a lot of revenues, strong revenues in the measurement period here from 2020 to 2024. So that, I mean, mainly the 2020 to 2022 was a lot of COVID relief funds. So it just showed a pretty high amount of revenues happening at all 17 colleges happening. So this will probably be more meaningful going forward to see like where it actually starts baselining out now. And that is another side comment to these. These all go back from 2020 to 2024, which is an year that has some strange financial things going on. So it is, we were hoping this is like get the baseline of what might make sense and then start looking forward at it because some of these numbers are a little skewed. And these are just some of the bullets on operating margin. A positive margin equals financial stability. And we had a strong average operating margin and fluctuations are tied. This is one also a note I added in here. Some of the fluctuations you see happen because we have a 5-3 state payment cycle. And I know most of you know what that means. I don't know that every one of you know what the 5-3 cycle means. Ryan, if you ever get out to an OCCA conference, I'm doing another presentation on it this OCCA conference. So I try to educate folks on it, but it's an interesting thing of our past where they pay 5 payments in 1 year and then they pay 3 in the next year based on something that happened many years ago. And that just because we recognize revenue as a 5-3, it causes another strange factor with these ratios. But otherwise, we're showing long-term financial resilience in this margin. The next one is return on net assets ratio, which is your change in net position divided by your beginning total net position. It measures whether your asset performance supports the strategic mission or mission of the institution. So this is where we are positioning ourselves for sustained growth. And you can see the ideal is anything above 3. And right now we are averaging 7.1. So again, we were doing strong in this area and the 17 community colleges were all very strong in this area. And again, I think a lot of this was related to COVID relief funds kind of helped push us above that quite substantially over the last few years. Again, the 6-year average was 7.1%, benchmark is 3, positive equals strong financial growth, support sustainability, campus upgrades. So this is what you're looking for is something on the positive side that can lead to being able to add net assets to your college. Okay, the reserves, so the long-term ratios, one was our primary reserves. This one we're right on track. The ideal is anything over 0.4. And then we are at 0.5% with total assets to total expenses. So really, it's looking at your long-term reserves, and here this just shows that we could cover 6 months of expenses, and it really just includes the ability to have stability for things like PERS, and allows us to reinvest our reserves if something comes up. So that's a lot of what this is about, and we are above the target in reserves. And the viability ratio was the last of these ratios, which is expendable net assets by your debt. This is one that's a little interesting for us. We didn't score too well. Ideally, you want to be between 1.25 and 2. We're around 0.5 of an average. The reason we have this lower ratio than the ideal is because we have GO bonds that we just issued. So it's really measuring how much debt you have out there compared to how much your net assets are. And the problem is when you just issue bonds, you have a lot of debt, but it doesn't know that you have property taxes backing those debts. So this ratio assumes that you have to figure out a way to pay those debts, where we have that voter approved ability to levy taxes to pay that debt. So this is one of the measures that we did recognize that some schools that have GO bonds are going to look bad in this. And so the HEC knows that they aren't giving us a bad score for this particular piece. So we just basically are flagging it almost like an asterisk in our report that says we have property tax levies that could pay that debt. So that really this ratio doesn't apply as much to us. And the final one is the CFI, which is the Composite Financial Index. This takes all of those and combines them into a score based on a weighted ratio. And you'll see here that we average right around 3.0, and that's the ideal. So we are right on the target for what the ideal average score would be between all the ratios. And again, the up and down, I think, has a little bit to do with the 5-3 payment cycle kind of causes things to skew. But on average, over the span of this, we end up right at the ideal average. So you can see that the bottom we put down there that they actually have a scorecard that says if you're somewhere between 2.5 and 4.5, you're stable and you should just maintain financial stability while preparing for any growth. And the next slide on the left is really where that has the entire range for all those different scores. So if you get below 1 or into the negative, you're considered program adjustments. I think that was a nice term for you need to get in a different business, because 1.1 to 2.5 is you need to re-engineer your institution. So so fortunately we're above that, and we're in the just direct your resources to allow for transformation and allow for yourself to continue getting better. And then, as you can see, once you start getting way much higher than that, it gets into how do you reinvest to start looking for the future and reshaping yourself for the future. So that's the full scorecard and what they came up with on that. So that's a little bit of complex. Any questions on that one? Okay, so the key issues, again, touched on this. The biennial funding distribution with the 5-3 cycle payment did create some large ups and downs with some of the colleges. So we asked that they look at things in 2-year averages. That's another reason why we were doing our averaging in 4-year blocks or 6-year blocks based on the different ratios. And then PERS rates are out of our control. They do impact these ratios, and looking at PERS rates and how they look at our PERS liability. And because they're out of our control, it can cause the ratios to change with something that we're not doing anything different. It's just a PERS rate changes and it changes the ratio. So that was something that came out of the analysis we did. Again, mentioned the one-time COVID funds really in the recent years affected a lot of these charts in those years. And then the long-term debt piece that I mentioned was that because they're backed by property tax revenues, if those are if you're GO bond debt, they're really not, it's really not a risk to the college to have that debt. Okay, and then some of the navigating the financial pressures here. So we're entering the period here of tighter margins due to inflation. And so you can see that we have the state revenues constrained. That's kind of a modern topic that's happening right now that I think we'll touch on. So there's just a lot of uncertainty that are happening. We have inflation out there. We have unfunded mandates. So there's a lot of pieces that we're kind of aware of and coming up in the future. Obviously, the federal funding is uncertain. So there's just a lot of pieces here that we're aware of that could change these ratios. And obviously, as we roll off of those COVID funds and off the chart, we'll really be able to see what we're looking at here as we move forward and keep coming back with the heck and reassessing these measurements and seeing if they look accurate for us. Yeah, it's going to be an annual report. So, so I think the idea was that they would, because that's what they do with the four-year universities. So I think the idea was they would try to establish a baseline with us that seemed to make sense, publish a report, let all the colleges do reports to their boards so they understood what this was happening and that. So that's a little bit of what is happening here. And then I think the hope is that they'll be doing annual reports. And then if something comes up, then we can meet and discuss and talk about like what that, if we were not stable, then it'd be an opportunity to like come and present and tell you what's happening with that. So
Jeff, a quick question. Are all of the colleges are going to be doing the same thing? Or is it just us?
it's all 17 colleges, and I believe all of them are trying to present to their boards right now.
Okay.
We weren't sure how many questions we would get because sometimes these just get published by the heck and a lot of questions happen. But we haven't heard a lot of public questions happen about it, but it did get published by the heck. And so it's out there right now. And that's why we wanted to make sure the boards were aware of these reports that are now being published by the state.
Thanks.
Jeff, and these are likely based upon audited financials when you're done.
They
You
are.
don't do them before, right? So there is some period in the rears that this is a backward looking.
It is definitely
Right.
backwards looking. And that
You don't
was,
see them probably till almost 2 years after the fact, right?
yeah, and that's part of we really were pushing towards the end of a biennial year because we really wanted to, because of that back and forth, we were hoping if something happened in the off year and it made everybody look bad, we didn't want an unstable. So we were really pushing too, like, should really publish these in 2-year intervals. So we're trying to do more messaging in like those averages and let them do it that way. But I still think they're going to publish them annually. But they're going to we did try to make them go back and do things in 2-year blocks for the averaging out purposes. But
Yeah, and there's enough information in our budgets. You can see it coming. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yep, exactly.
Yeah, I was just going to add they are looking at all 17 community colleges, but they're really stressing this is not meant as a tool to really compare the colleges amongst themselves. It's really for each college to look and see the health. And this is really nice first one for you to have. When it came out, I think it came out in August. I'm trying to remember when the report was
Mhm.
released. I was expecting some more news or some things around it. And I think now probably because there wasn't really a lot of fireworks there because there wasn't really anything glaring from any of our 17 community colleges. So it's a nice year to really get familiar with this, and it was a nice presentation to kind of explain overall so that when it does come out regularly and something happens, we'll have a better understanding of that.
All
Any
right.
other questions? Rob,
It's good stuff. Thanks for sharing.
All right, thank you.
thank you. Are there any other questions from this work section? All right, we have 10 minutes. So this work session is adjourned. We'll see you back here in 10 minutes. Thank you. I think. I'd like to call the Clackamas Community College Board of Education regular meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, October 15. It's around 7:00 p.m. I'm going to ask Katie to call the roll for us.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Position number 7, representing Canby and Malala, Irene Konev. Here. Position number 6, representing Estacada and Colton, Jane Reed.
Here.
Position number 5, representing Westland and Wilsonville, Ryan Ingersoll.
Here.
Position number 3, representing Gladstone and Johnson City, Wade Hathorn.
Here.
Position number 2, representing Clackamas and Happy Valley, Rob Wheeler.
Here.
And position number 4, representing Oregon City, Chair Josephine Joe Crenshaw.
I am here. Thank you. I'm going to ask Irene to read the labor and land acknowledgements.
Thank you. Clackamas Community College land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the Clackamas Community College campuses reside on the traditional homelands of the Clackamas, Cascade, and Tumwater bands of Chinooks, as well as the Tualatin and Pudding River bands of Kalapuya and the Northern Malala people. They lived and prospered by maintaining strong cultural ties to the land and through wise management of resources. As signers of the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855, they were removed from their homelands to the Grand Ronde Indian Reservation, where they became members of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. Please join me in taking this opportunity to thank and honor the original caretakers of this land, their lives and their descendants that live on as tribal members today, still carrying on the traditions and cultures of their ancestors. And the CCC labor acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the foundation and wealth of the United States was built upon the forced labor of enslaved African people, involuntary and trafficked indigenous labor, and the often exploited labor of immigrant domestic and farm workers. Their vital contributions and resilience in spite of violence, terror tactics, and bloodshed are integral to understanding our nation's past, present, and the hope of what's to come. The prosperity many enjoy today is rooted in the centuries of labor extracted under conditions of injustice, inequality, and ongoing systemic oppression. Acknowledging this truth is a step towards honoring those who were denied justice and toward creating a future that is more equitable, inclusive, and humane.
Thank you, Irene. Public comments? The Clackamas Community College Board of Education welcomes community members to attend board meetings to become acquainted with the programs and operations of the college district. Members of the public are encouraged to share their comments with the board during the agenda item labeled public comments. Comments from the audience at any other time during the meeting except for the agenda item, public comments will be declared out of order. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Katie,
There are none, thank you.
thank you. We're going to go on with the consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda consists of the following items. Approval of minutes, 1A. The executive, work, and regular sessions of 9/17/2025. And the work session, board retreat of 9/27/2025. The acceptance of the monthly financial reports, personnel report, the bond update, and the 2024 to 25 end of the year enrollment report. Does anyone wish to pull anything from the consent agenda for the discussion?
No, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It was Wade and you got those, Rob. Thank you.
Should I turn my name tag to?
You're fine, Rob.
That's twice.
So we still need to call for the vote.
Yeah, yeah, I'm getting.
Oh, okay, I just wanted to make sure.
That's all right, I'll get him
Making sure
later.
Rob's included though.
All, I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Those who are. An abstention, there's no one in abstention here, so. The motion passes. Resolution number R 25 through 26-16, authorizing, oh wow, Lucian contract extension through June 30th, 2031. Adding colleagues ERP to SaaS migration in an amount not to exceed 5,523,024. Under new business, this is the first read of this resolution. I will turn this over to President Cook to introduce the topic while the college's Chief Information Officer comes forward to the speaker table.
Yeah, Sabi comes forward. I'll make a couple comments here. The first is, you'll remember last month, we had a first reading on hiring a project manager for this. We've pulled that for now as we focus on getting this contract in place and really looking through some of those pieces. So that second reading will come back to you either next month or the month after as we work through that. So this is a separate but connected resolution. And this is again around the college's ERP project moving from on the ground here using our own servers into the cloud. So software as a service, SaaS. You'll become really familiar with that term if you haven't already. So Sabi's going to go into a little more detail about our work with Lucian, how long this will take, and the everything that's going into this 5-year contract process.
Right.
So please.
Awesome. Thank you. Good evening, board members. Can I also invite Kathy from Lucian?
Yes. Oh,
Right.
yes. Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot that Lucian was here. Thank you. I
Yeah.
meant to, yeah, please come up to the table as well, Kathy. Thank you.
Cool. Well, good evening, board members. The reason I'm here today is to talk about the colleague ERP, which is Enterprise Resource Planning / Student Information System, which we have been running for almost more than 2 decades. And right now, what we're doing is that agreement is expiring with Lucian. The product which we use is called Colleague, and we are asking to authorize for a 5-year extension, which goes till June 30th, 2031. So a little bit background about why we're doing this. First is our hardware, and there's a lot of custom integrations which need a lot of attention from our limited ITS staff members. A couple of them are ready to retire. And we also have a huge cybersecurity risk when the systems are more vulnerable to ransomware or breaches. And once we move to the software as a service into the cloud, then Lucian will be responsible for those cybersecurity risks. And also another challenge which we have seen is continuously is because our on-premise is customized and it takes a lot of time to upgrade it, and sometimes it takes a lot of time to patch those systems as well, and we are not able to take full advantage of the functionality, which is making it more mobile friendly, more modern approach. So what we're looking at is 3 different buckets here. If you see the extension, we're looking for the ERP subscription fees for SaaS services. We also added a professional services to support the conversion into integration testing and training. And also, while we are working on this system to move to the cloud as a SaaS-based solution, there are dual environmental costs which you have to pay for on-premise as well as For the cloud services, this is standard in any technology conversion. One of the benefits of partnering with Ellucian is that they have given us a 50% reduction in those dual environment costs for those 2 years. So really appreciate that partnership here. So total subscription license fees, which we're looking at, is $4,139,521, which will take us to June 30th, 2031. Professional services to support this conversion, integration, testing, and training amounts to $784,768. And then transitioning software costs, that dual environment cost, while we are on the premise and on the cloud, is $516,099. This will be funding through ITS operating budget and through recently passed bond measure. And we have attached the statement of work and the contract through Ellucian.
Can you introduce Kathy or have Kathy introduce herself too? Sorry,
Yeah.
but that was my fault not doing that.
No worries. Kathy, could you introduce yourself? Yes.
Hi there. My name is Kathy Malone, and I am the dedicated Ellucian account executive. So I manage the relationship between Ellucian and Clackamas Community College, and I'm based here in Oregon as well, Sandy. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Questions? Rob?
Can you lobby Sandy into the district? You're in the county.
I will do what I can.
Understand, and I don't even want to, but just put that on. It sounds like it will be fairly seamless. I mean, this will, or will it?
So these kind of complex transformations are very challenging.
Mhm.
There was a study done which says almost 70% of these digital transformations, because this is a digital transformation, this transformation is not technology transformation, this is a business transformation. 70% of these transformations fail. And number one reason for that is people issues. Because organizations don't change, people do. So organizational change management is a huge part of this transformation. But that will be a little bit less for us because our transition, we're not going to a new ERP system. We're going to a similar ERP system into the cloud. So that challenge, that percentage of challenge reduces, but it's still a very big initiative for next 2 years because it's going to take about 24 months. 18 months were recommended by Ellucian, which they have done with other organizations, other institutions. We have extended for another 6 months for us to give us a little bit of lead time to work on making sure that this transition happens successfully.
Yeah, Sabi, that was my only question. You're not going anywhere time soon, are you?
Not right now. Yes,
That's what you said, right?
yes,
Right.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I know, right? So, yeah, these are big transitions and it's really on the people side, right? You
Yeah.
have a lot of infrastructure to move. Did you, in the background, and not that it matters because the efficiency of moving to the cloud is long proven itself.
Yeah.
Did you look at a rough number of the cost savings of moving off a hard framework internally to get away to move out into the cloud?
No, we haven't done that. We're going to do that right now, but it's significant costs of definitely hardware costs, which we don't have to renew for next many, many years. But I think the biggest one was after our cybersecurity incident. I thought that was a huge part of that. We need to move.
Yeah,
on to a-
that might have been in the millions.
Yes, yes. Just alone that, yes.
I just wanted to say thank you for all that you do and the foresight that you are sharing with us all the time and making changes in real time when we absolutely need to do that.
Thank
today.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, I know we've talked a little about this
Yes.
and when I was getting onboarded, these projects are fun. So this is before, potentially before I'm here, but I'm curious if there were conversations about moving to a different product or what was sort of the rationale from your area of like, we want to stay with this product, but we do want to move it to a SaaS.
Yeah, so we have talked with many other vendors like Workday or Genzabar, or even Ellucian has a different product called Banner. But those products, especially Workday, is very, very expensive. And right now, and at the same time, their student information system is not very mature as per the study done by Gartner. but they have a good, I will say, financial modules and those kind of things, but we're very student focused. Also, the chaos which we're seeing right now and the burnout which we're seeing, one of the biggest factor is folks are not ready for that huge change as well. Moving to altogether a different system would be very, very intensive and chaotic. So that's why I think the study was done before me when I was here, when we were looking at Workday. But in conversation with other IT leaders and CIOs and other organizations, seems like most of them are moving to this same kind of effort. Like I was talking with Mountwood Community College CIO, they have a Genza Bar system, and they're moving to Genza Bar SaaS-based solution as well. But then there are some others who are excited about the change and they're taking that big leap, but they have the budget to do that.
That also just increases the risk of failure though, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that 70 to 80% transformations fail, that is when you're going to altogether a different system.
Yeah, and what you don't mention in that failure rate, right, is that the redo is 4 times more expensive. So once it fails and you have to try to rebuild it,
100%.
you're in deep doo-doo.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. City of Portland did a similar transformation. They spent $50 million for that transformation. It failed. And there are multiple examples of these where another project went on for 10 years, failed 4 times, spent millions of dollars trying to go in a different direction.
Well, we only looked to the state more recently in some of their conversions, right? We won't mention some of the ones, right? But they cost them billions and they get
Billion.
nothing, right?
Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you.
So just a quick comment, Sabi.
Yes.
We have a budget, so we know that we're going to be on budget with you and Kathy in charge of this, right?
100%.
Sitting there holding my heart.
I will just add that we actually have and take pride in the fact that we have a 94% on-time delivery and a 98% on-budget delivery.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was
Yeah.
thank you.
No, I definitely, I also want to, appreciate all the support, and we'll continue to look for your support because these transformations are challenging, right? So we'll look for your support and be the champion for this change.
We will be.
Thank you.
So this is a first read. We'll come back again next month for your
Yes.
vote. Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
both for
Yeah.
coming. Right, on to our new business. This is an action item. Resolution number R25/26-12, declaring a vacancy on the CCC Board of Education in Zone 1 and approving the application process.
So moved.
All right. Well, you know that our action item is that Ms. Kathy Hazy resigned during the board meeting in September. The board must now declare the position in Zone 1 vacant. We want to advertise the vacancy and interview the applicants. A timeline has been outlined in the agenda documents with the application deadline of 5 p.m. on Wednesday, November 19th, and the oath of office for this position at the December 17th board meeting. Are there any questions or concerns with this timeline or the process?
No, just wanted to mention that it's Milwaukee for those that don't know Zone 1. So
Okay.
if you know anybody who might be interested in Milwaukee, talk it up.
I have a motion and a second already. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey.
Irene.
Yeah.
We did that a little earlier. Any questions? Any oppositions? I'm sorry. Okay, the motion carried. We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution, declaring the board vacancy and establishing the application process. Can we vote? We already voted, right?
Mhm.
There. Are there any other abstentions? For the record, the motion passes. Okay. Well, we're at the Bond Project Community Oversight Committee composition and member appointments. I will ask Vice President Jeff Schaefer again to come and provide us with an overview.
Thank you, Board. Good evening again. So this is a item for our Bond Oversight Committee appointments. Part of this bond was that we would have an oversight committee that would come and provide that financial oversight and advocacy from the community side of this bond. We had one in 2014. So a lot of this model is very similar to the 2014 bond. You'll see in your packet on the item, essentially our recommendation for the board is that we have somewhere between 30 to 40 members that we've identified in the general groups. Composition of the committee would be made up of Board of Education members, district residents and neighbors, community of commerce leadership, civic leaders, high school partners, city, county, economic development and workforce partners, Clackamas business partners, and Clackamas Community College faculty and staff. So our recommendation is that group come from that, and we will go out and make those invites and form this oversight committee from that, and then we will likely kick them off shortly after the board approves that recommendation. I think the tentative plan right now is for once per term or every 3 months approximately to do a meeting with a presentation.
Any other questions? May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. And I'll have you know, I served on that 2014 Citizens Advisory Committee. My first involvement with the college, really. Right, as a citizen, yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
I'll second.
Wait, seconded.
Wait a second. All right, let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those who are opposed? There are no abstentions, so the motion passes. Thank you.
right,
Thank you,
thank you.
Jeff. Number 3 on our agenda tonight, the President's evaluation timeline and process. You may recall that this was a discussion at our board retreat last month. There was consensus to utilize the same tool as last year for gathering information regarding the president's evaluation. In your packet, there was a timeline for this process, which included the board receiving the president's self-evaluation by October 30th and the board completing their individual evaluations by November 13th. Are there any questions about the process, timeline, or the tool? Seeing there is none. Can I ask someone for a motion?
I'll make the motion. Rob?
Rob. Need a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second approving the president's evaluation timeline. Can we vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Okay. Now comes our fun part. Student and faculty presentations. The association reports. Please keep these under 3 minutes. We have the ASG, Brianna Davis. Is she here tonight? She's she's got the pause on, does it? Welcome, Brianna.
We had our pictures today, so we all got to wear our merch together. It was very very fun.
Fantastic.
Okay, hello everyone. So I'm going to start off the update tonight talking about our food pantry endowment. Right now, there's currently a page. There's currently a page up for the Cougar Community Campaign, and when that is done on October 22nd, there will be a transition over to a giving page on the foundation's website. Right now, we're looking to connect with some people to learn more about grant development opportunities, while we are also in the beginning stages of planning a big event / kickoff fundraiser for the endowment. Our goal for the coming future is to raise $20,000, and hopefully by the end of the year, we will get another 30,000, equaling out to about 50,000 for the endowment. Our subcommittees are also just getting kicked off. So one is for our ASG food allocations. We are trying to figure out how to get after-hour snacks, which is a program that a lot of the students have liked in more areas. Right now, our three main spots that we're thinking of is Desjardins, the Arts Center, and the library. Also, our clothing committee has met a few times and are starting to think of different places to maybe have some kind of clothing donation or closet area. They were even considering asking if there would maybe be any space in the new building opportunities that we're having to maybe just like put off a little bit of space for them. But again, we're still in very early idea stages right now, but hoping to look into that more in the future. As well as so besides the food, or not the food, the clothing closet, we're also still trying to pursue the washer and dryer program. Our secretary, Caitlin, is still trying to pursue that. It's taken a lot of work to go through, but it's something that she feels very passionately about and that the rest of us in ASG are trying to support. We have also been thinking about restructuring our budget recently so that it can be more economical when considering future events. We have a lot of things planned for this coming month and are trying our best to not enter a deficit before winter term. So far, we have a lot of events planned, such as trivia, a Halloween party at the end of October, karaoke as a weekly possible event. Also, it has been floated to have a talent show in partnership with the print to get more promotion for it. Also, our Pop Into ASG event, which happens every term, where essentially members of the community get to come up to members of ASG and ask them how our jobs work, what we can do for them, how we can support them in the future, and just keep in contact with the student body for the most part. We also just hosted one of our most popular events during the term, which was the Clubs Fair. It was very successful, according to our chair of the clubs department, Daniel. He said on day one, there were probably around 200 students, which is a higher turnout than we were expecting. And even on day two, which is usually when we get less people, there was still 150 to 175 as a rough estimate. We again tried to make more economical decisions this time, so we were only getting Jersey Mike's and like lemonades and cupcakes, but people were still very happy to be there. We got a really good feedback from the advisors and the club members saying that they think the event went really well. And in general, we think that it was successful in getting students connected with more resources related to the college. Also for our committees, circling back on that really quick, because I forgot to mention, we are also trying to do outreach to get the rest of the student body involved so that it is not just ASG and student life and leadership members, but so that other people can also get involved and try to help out. So that is what we have been doing recently.
Been busy.
Very, yeah. It's
Thank
been
you
great.
for the report.
Okay.
Any questions? Go ahead.
No, not yet. No, not yet. We might do like a winter jacket drive during like later in the term, but that's kind of something that we do every year, I'm pretty sure, and that's more of a standard thing right now. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right.
And
Any
I have a
questions?
quick question.
Oh, yes.
You asked about in the new building, getting a site.
Yeah, I was just told about it today by some of my members. They mentioned the fact that they were thinking about requesting if maybe in some of like the new building projects, there would be space for them to put some clothing things. I don't know. That's just what they said. They are very ambitious about trying to get things done when they can.
We'll probably be talking to you a little bit
Oh, yeah.
about that.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anything else?
Nothing else, but thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I love the shirt.
Oh, thank you. It's one of our favorites. Ooh.
Thanks. Associate Faculty, Mr. Christopher Zimmerly Beck. You have a report for us today?
Hey, everybody. So nice to see you all.
So nice to see you.
I don't have too much to report tonight. Associate faculty are hard at work at the start of the term. This is personally my favorite time of the year. Fall close, returning to school, getting to be with our students. It's really pretty wonderful. I do think a lot of anxiety hangs over faculty and a lot of students' heads with the budget issues and really the political climate that we're in. And there's a lot of stress right now, and I think we just want to recognize that as we're getting ready to go into bargaining. So I just want to put that into the space. Had a great meeting with Tim earlier where we were, and David Plotkin, who's over here, we were able to just sort of talk through the budget and upcoming issues and that sort of stuff. So nothing new, no saber rattling or anything tonight, and excited to just keep at it. So thanks. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Classified?
Do I get to use some of the minutes he didn't use?
Oh, he's a.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Charlie Lettmeyer. I'm the Full-Time Faculty Association
Yeah.
President. When I sent out the call for items to talk about tonight, I was giving so much material that I probably could have filled, in fact, I think I did fill at least 2 reports. So I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible, which is why I was asking for his minutes, because I actually may need them. So getting straight into this, Jordan Gully from Wildline Fire had 42 students participate in industry courses in the fire forestry program. 35 of those students participated on resume workshops and hiring phases. Now, again, I'm going to kind of paraphrase some of this stuff because, again, this is kind of a lengthy thing. Jen Miller from Computer Sciences hosted a 4-day cybersecurity boot camp for middle and high school students. Northwest Cyber Camp for the past 2 summers. And the new faculty member, Joel Rendon, is to create a cybersecurity degree here at CCC. So that's actually very exciting. Michael Farrell with the electronic department is hosting a repair fair here on campus on November 8th. Mike would like to ask the board to bring any items in that they need fixed. I'm hoping this includes like TVs or something not related to a cell phone or laptop, but who knows? Chris Konechka of Horticulture and Organic Farming Program has been very active this summer, completed 2 different murals, one on the tool shed Connex, painted by program graduate Rebecca Kaufman. The second in the walk-in cold storage was painted by the art club with supervision from full-time faculty member Rachel Kalman. Okay, into one of the longer ones here. I promise I will keep this short. Eric Lee of the engineering department organized engineering students reunion over the summer, inviting all alumni from the program since it started back in 2012, which is also the year that the college invested in creating a full-time engineering instructor position rather than the associate faculty position that preceding year. They had over 70 students attend the reunion and the networking event held at the corner, 14 Foods Countdown. Maintaining a building connection has helped connect students with their search for jobs and current students looking for internships. Justine Munns with the library has been working on a lot of exciting things, but the update that she would like to share is concerning textbook affordability. So this is actually quite huge. textbook affordability for students. The end of the year, the estimated savings for CCC textbooks affordability initiatives surpassed $5 million. That's huge. Textbook affordability plan listed $5 million in savings as of a 5-year goal after hiring a full-time textbook affordability librarian, and they did it in 3 years. So that's actually quite impressive. These savings are accomplished by the work of many people at the college, so please make sure that you give a shout out to all people involved for low-cost textbooks and materials. Sarah Pavey with our renewable energy has a grant program called Renew It, which is covering the tuition fees and textbooks, certification fees and materials for a 2-term, 6-month energy systems maintenance certificate in renewable energy and industrial technology. They're almost halfway through the 5-year program, learned a lot from the first 2 cohorts, and they've done a few things to mix things up this fall. With the 3rd cohort this year, they're going to teach 2 new cohorts with the 2nd group starting in the winter term. Rearranging the certificate courses structure to spread out some more of the topics, so students have more time to digest the introductory material for getting into the advanced materials. They're also using prep books and some textbooks that some students are learning the material that will help them prepare for a pass various certification exams, including the LEED Green Associate Residential Energy Auditor and the NABCEP PV Associate and the FAA Drone Pilot License. Now that's what I'm interested in. So sign me up for that class. And we're making sure they're ready for classes with basics like binders, calculators, engineering papers, and keeping snacks handy for continued learning. Okay, for Jeff McAlpine, the English writing, the Learning Center has started started training 17 new tutors this fall, writing, technology, and accounting. Now, I do have a lot of other material that I could share, but again, I think I'm running out of time. Any questions? Fantastic. Thank you all so much. My last name?
I didn't get a chance to say your last name because you came up before.
That's because I'm quick.
Thank you, Charlie. All right, from classified, it's Jennifer here. She's not here. All right. Thank you. All right, and we're down to our president's business report.
Thank you, Chair. I have a number of items to report on tonight, but I'm going to start with one of my favorite nights of the year tonight. We get to identify or introduce our new full-time faculty. I'm always excited about this. And I know the board has commented over the last few years about the quality of our faculty, and I think tonight you'll just be just as impressed. We continue to attract some pretty amazing folks to come here and teach for us. So tonight you get to meet them. And so the way we do this is we'll invite the deans up and then their faculty, and the deans will introduce each of their faculty. So we've got several. And I'm going to start with Dean Danielle Huffman, if you'd please come forward.
Good evening, board. I have the pleasure to introduce you all to Abraham Encinas. He is our new full-time English faculty member who will be teaching composition courses in both English and Spanish for our department, along with literature courses. Abraham is newly minted PhD from UCLA, where he researched the Latin American dictator novel and its connection to U.S. dystopian science fiction. Tracing both genres to divisions of space-time and the colonial encounter, Abraham's bilingualism in English and Spanish enabled his timely American hemispheric study of the problem of dictatorship, as well as his work in oral histories, a project where he interviewed migrant domestic workers in California about their environmental illnesses, interviews that are freely available in UCLA's Oral History Archive. And I'll need that link from you. Apart from his research, Abraham has taught at the college level for almost a decade, beginning at California State University, LA, and later at UCLA and Loyola Marymount University. Abraham has taught a variety of literature and composition courses, including literature of the Americas, intro to creative writing, and writing across disciplines. Today, Abraham is looking forward to teaching Spanish language composition courses for students in our early childhood education certificate program. And for a fun fact, as if that wasn't all lovely, Abraham has no fun. Just kidding. Actually, he's been collecting Hot Wheels for a few months. It all started with a Batmobile from Batman, the animated series. It's a beautiful, shiny purple color.
It is.
Welcome, Abraham.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And Dean Anne Mary Nash Haruna, would you please come forward with your two faculty members? Dean Mary.
Good evening, board. So funny that last month I was here being introduced. Then back introducing my faculty. I'm going to start with Josh Eman. The good thing about community colleges and colleges is how they do integration in terms of encouraging individuals that are already working within the system to apply for positions that can elevate them. And Josh is an example of that. Josh started teaching in a K-8 school system, working with students in basic computing skills. And in 2015, he started working at Clackamas Community College as the tutor coordinator. Josh completed his MBA at Mary Horst in 2018. Was around that time, he also started teaching business computing night classes for the business department as an associate faculty. So he's excited to take on this faculty role, getting to work with students in a more direct approach and contributing to the continued growth of our business program. His personal interest is he gets outdoors as much as possible with his wife and 3 kids. They go to the parks, they do scooter rides, and travel when possible. He also enjoys running, swimming, and backpacking. He also just completed his first triathlon this summer. So I want to welcome Josh to the Business and Computer Science Department. Thank you. The next faculty is Louis Joel Rendon. You know to be called Louis or Joel?
Both ways work.
Okay, so Louis had a decade of experience supporting and directing enterprise sales in IT operations, digital transformation initiative, and cyber security strategies in public sector environment. He's a certified project manager and certified educational technology leader. He is an ITIL practitioner with a master's degree in information technology. I'm getting a lot of acronyms since I've been here, so I'm trying to learn it. You have to let me know what ITIL practitioner means. He has experience building high-performing, inclusive, multicultural teams, aligning IT strategy with organizational goals, and implementing secure, innovative solutions that improve operational efficiency. He's excited for this opportunity to help students bridge the gap between academic learning and industry practice, be a positive impact in the careers and professional development of students. His personal interests, he enjoys football, soccer, just like me. He has 6 kids. Ages ranges from 16 to 6-year-old. I think you said 5 girls and a boy?
Yes.
And all of them are doing ballet. And that takes a lot of his time and his wife's time. So they are very busy in addition to what he's doing here. He has gone skydiving. That's a fun fact about him. He does skydiving, and he also lived in the Galapagos Island as well also. So welcome to Clackamas Community College. You and I are learning because we're new as well also. And can you tell me what ITIS stands for?
ITIL is a is a framework for information technology, library management, and improvement.
Welcome. Thank you.
Before you go, I should have asked Abraham this too. Josh, Lewis, anything you want to say on behalf of being here at Clackamas, working here at Clackamas?
Well, I haven't planned anything, but it has been a joy to have been here for 10 years in my former role. And like you were saying, the opportunity to be able to grow into something else has been a great opportunity. So the first 3 weeks have been great.
As I said, I'm excited about the opportunity to engage with students and work with that, bridge that academic and hands-on experience to lead them to employment, hopefully.
Oh, I forgot to mention that he was also the Director of Technology Services at Reynolds School District, leading technology for more than 10,000 students, modernizing infrastructure and launching an apprenticeship program that has helped students to gain real-world IT experience as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dean Armetta Burney, would you please come forward with your new faculty? And I should mention, Dean Armetta is a newly Dr. Armetta Burney, so I want to make sure I think of that too.
All right, good evening, board. Thank you for having us. So I would first like to introduce to you Myron Babcock. Myron is our newest industrial technology full-time faculty member. He brings more than 2 decades of experience in the manufacturing industry. Most recently, he was with Oregon Tool, where he served for 24 years in various increasingly responsible roles. His positions included business systems analyst, manufacturing systems analyst, tooling and equipment engineer, and machine design engineer. This breadth of experience will be invaluable to both our programs and our students. In addition to his industry background, Myron has a strong passion for teaching. He is eager to share his practical knowledge and real-world insights to enrich student learning and support their success in the classroom and beyond. Myron earned his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering technology from OIT. A fun fact about Myron, he is a 3rd-generation Clackamas County resident. He is truly local, so he has a long family history of being here. All right. And now I would like to introduce to you Sarah Pavey. Sarah is our newest renewable energy technology full-time faculty member. Sarah has extensive experience in renewable energy, which includes a PV site technician and plant designer, PV designer, project coordinator, and construction manager. In addition to her extensive background in renewable energy, she has a passion for sharing her knowledge of the field with a younger generation to ignite a spark of interest in renewables. She teaches at a summer camp for teens called Construction Hope, where students participate in a variety of hands-on projects to include building solar race cars and solar notebooks. She also spends a significant amount of time volunteering for Girls Build, which is a trades camp for girls ages 8 to 15. A fun fact about Sarah, she is only one of 40 people in Oregon that have the NABCEP, North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners, PBIB certification. And only 5 of those 40 are women. So thank you so much.
So, yeah, also, would either of you like to say anything to, that they're here tonight?
It's exciting to be here. It's been a dream of mine to try to do teaching, and this will be a great opportunity, and I hope to be a fun experience.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here because I get to keep learning like people from the olden days who got to be in the Explorers Society or whatever. Like now I'm in the Explorers Society right here. What are we going to learn today?
And I'll just mention, since we had a bond presentation tonight, Sarah's actually helping us with some of the solar around related to that bond, trying to help identify where we might put some of that too. So it's nice to see that connection. So thank you. Thank you both. And lastly, tonight, I want to welcome Health Sciences Director Vern Chambers up to introduce the new Health Sciences faculty, who I believe are all virtual tonight.
Hello. It is wonderful to be here and to see you all. I actually have their bios written on my computer. I didn't have a chance to print them out. We're actually really excited about these 3 nursing faculty, full-time faculty joining our team. And then we also have another full-time faculty in our nursing assistant program. That's the program director joining the team. So 4 nurses joining the team. And I think they are on Zoom land to be able to see their faces as we read these. I'm going to start with Christina Lees. So Christina Lees has an RN, BSN, MSN, has been a nurse for over 20 years. She's practiced primarily in cardiac nursing with 8 years at the bedside in an immediate care unit and 10 years as a heart transplant coordinator. Most recently, she has worked at an inpatient case manager. Her love for education and engaging with students has brought her to a full-time faculty position here at the Clackamas Community College. She believes in making and learning from mistakes is essential for developing resiliency, acquiring new skills, and fostering critical thinking. She aims to create a space where students feel valued for their unique perspectives. Christina is a Tennessee native, but has lived in the Pacific Northwest for over 2 decades. She lives with her husband, Brian, and their 2 elderly cats in the Mount Tabor neighborhood in Southeast Portland. In her free time, she enjoys gardening, reading, cooking, and traveling. Yay. Welcome, Christina. Yeah, you can, wave Christina so we know it's you. Yeah, there you go. Excellent. The next I'd like to introduce is Kim. Kim Kabat. She has a BSN RN. She attended the Lower Columbia College's nursing program with 4 children at home, ranging in ages from preschool to high school, graduating in 2014. After working in a clinical environment in neurology and dermatology for a few years, she discovered her passion really was mental health and education. She returned to school, earning her BSN in 2019 from Washington State University. After working as an inpatient psychiatric nurse for 5 years, she decided to join the forensics nursing team at Providence, Portland, and became a certified SANE, which is a sexual assault nurse examiner in Oregon. In 2023, she transitioned to be an RN case manager at Legacy, working part-time while also continuing her role as an adjunct mental health clinical instructor with Clark College since 2021. Kim is currently enrolled in a full-time program at OHSU towards her master's in nursing education, and her expected degree will come in in winter term. Her teaching philosophy centers on active learning styles that promote deep understanding and real-world application. Kim is also passionate about neurodivergent learning and ensuring her educational approaches cater to the wide range of cognitive styles. Kim was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, moving to Vancouver, Washington in 2000. Kim has one child still at home, 18, who is attending CCC this term as a freshman. When she's not working, Kim enjoys spontaneous trips to the beach, catching up with friends, spending time with her family, and only grandchild, which is a 22-month-old. Oh, welcome, Kim. In a way. Excellent. Next on my roster here is Amy. So Amy Duran she has an MSN, RN, CCRN. She's excited to be joining the Clackamas Community Nursing team. Amy had a non-traditional career path, beginning with a BA in psychology and working in mental health field before pivoting away from the clinical psychology in favor of becoming a registered nurse. After relocating from Austin, Texas to Portland almost 25 years ago, Amy earned her associate's degree in nursing from Mount Hood Community College in 2008. Amy has worked for 14 years in acute care bedside nursing, including 4 years medical surg or med surg nursing, 4 years critical care nursing, and 6 years in interventional radiology nursing, all with Providence Medical Center. She completed a BSN Bridge program and an MSN in nursing education and has taught nursing at Mount Hood Community College for the last 6 years before coming to us. Amy is passionate about mentoring and supporting associate degree nursing students, and in particular enjoys working with adult students who, like herself, are making a second career transition into the nursing field. Amy's teaching approach follows the warm demand model of education, ensuring trust, humor, and a belief in all students' potential to succeed to help guide them through the challenging experiences of becoming a registered nurse. It's a lot. Welcome, Amy. Mary, I have a very short bio on Mary. Mary, do you want to wave? I know, and it's totally fine. Welcoming Mary, Mary Cox. She's actually our nursing assistant program director. She has quite a bit of experience in hospice care. She's also taught with Concordia. She's a longtime nurse. She's worked in critical care, ER, and then outside the hospital in hospice, a clinic manager, hospice, home-based primary care, and a professor at Concordia. She absolutely loves teaching, and she's grateful for the opportunity to support this community when it comes to the college and the students and her peers. So it's exciting. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Would any of you like to come off of mute and say anything since you're here tonight? Give you that opportunity. Don't fight each other. Just, yeah.
I am so happy to be at Clackamas. Everybody has been so welcoming and so great. And so I think I'm just really excited to work with these wonderful folks on my team. And we're all sort of, we called ourselves the 3 facultiers the other day in a meeting. But yeah, it's been really great. And I'm excited to get to work a little closer with Mary too, because she's going to join our first year faculty experience group. Yay.
I think I'd speak up to say I've been a nurse for a very long time, and I actually got to talk to students yesterday and today, and I have the gray hair to prove it. But one thing being a nurse for a very long time is you see a lot in healthcare. You do a lot of different things. And the most important thing, especially coming out of the pandemic and all of the stress and strain that we've been through and are still going through, is finding a place where we can feel safe, where we can feel empowered, where we can be kind, where we can show our true selves. And I feel like I've landed in paradise. So thanks, Vern.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you and welcome. Welcome all new faculty to Clackamas Community College. Thank you for choosing us and choosing to work here. I think you can agree, we've got another amazing year of faculty hires here. It's pretty impressive. So welcome all. Faculty, you're welcome to stay for the last part of this meeting if you like tonight. I know some of you have classes tomorrow and probably some other things you want to do. So if you choose to leave, we won't be offended. It's entirely up to you. Yeah, just running out. A few other items I want to mention tonight. I'll start with the enrollment report because it's a little different than what I've been giving the last several meetings. We're up about 1% from last fall at this time, and so you've been hearing reports of 8, 9, 10% over year as we've been going, and so as we've looked at that. What we see happening, and we still have numbers coming in from like our dual credit and our non-credit, so it could change a little bit, but we don't think it's going to change a whole lot. And some of that is that we had a strong fall last year, so we're building on that. And then we did check it. Most of the schools across the state, the other colleges across the state are up similarly. It's been in about the 1 to 4% range. So take that for what that may mean. We would anticipate if we're going into a recession again that numbers would go up and some of those other things. But that is a different number. So we'll continue to obviously watch it and report on that number. The federal impacts happening federally continue to impact us, and I would say this week there are really two big ways that that's happening. One is happened really recently. You may have heard there was ICE at a middle school in Wilsonville this last week, and they were asked to leave the area, and they did, and they complied. But it's really raised questions again. If ICE should come on campus, what do we do? How do we keep our students safe and the rest? So we continue to get advice, and we continue to share information about these changes as we have more and more activity, particularly around the protests around ICE in Portland and the rest. So it has kind of a little bit of a pall over the college as we try to manage that and try to manage anything happening here. So far, again, nothing has happened here, but we continue to be ready and thinking about what could happen. The larger issue, and Jane was with me when we got this news last week. We hosted, I think it was last week, maybe it's 2 weeks ago. We hosted the quarterly Oregon Community College Association meeting here right in this room. So that's a group of 17 board members, a board member from each college, and then 17 presidents, all the presidents of the college that we meet quarterly and talk about all the issues related to our community colleges in the state. The big issue that came up during that meeting is our John Wyckoff, our legislative advisor, who spends a lot of time in Salem talking to folks and the rest, shared with us the news that the governor's office has directed state agencies and to look at, to build scenarios of a 5% reduction that will be noticed more in February when there's a new economic forecast coming out. And actually, depending on how that economic forecast ends up looking, 5% may be, it may be more than 5%. So that was really not great news for us coming off of last year where we, were reducing $3 million, but we still have $650,000 left of. So we have started talking about what this means for Clackamas. We have some work to do to really figure this out. But building on that, and we're unfortunately we're not alone. All of the 4 years, 2 years, all the agencies in Oregon, at least right now, are going to have to manage this. We'll see what happens with the state. There are some potentials there they can use with rainy day fund and some other things, but we've also been told that it's not just federal impacts that are causing this. It's really the net migration out of Oregon, and that over the next few biennia, we might be looking at reduced budgets as well. So it was in general kind of a somber news that we got there. In real numbers, what that 5% would mean for us is about $2.1 million in reductions. And because we still have the $650,000 left over from last year, the number we're looking at right now is $2.75 million that we're going to have to be reducing and going through a process to reduce this year. So that's not great. And as I've been talking to folks at the college and introducing this, I'm trying not to cause any trauma or panic for anyone, because I think, we're smart and we'll involve people and we'll work on this, but it is also going to be a challenge as we work through that. So I wanted the board to hear that news because it is out there. It's public knowledge, and we again won't know until February what that really means. So we're just creating scenarios at this time. Any questions about any of that? I guess before I jump into some other things. Okay. So a lot of the rest I'm going to report on tonight are just events and some other news and some things coming up then. We had a Veterans Expo here on campus today, and for Clackamas County Veterans Expo, and apparently this is the first time in 7 years that they've hosted that, and they hosted it on campus here. We had hundreds of people coming through, veterans, coming through and getting all sorts of different services and really learning about programs. So it was really nice to be able to host that. And then this past Sunday, we hosted the Indigenous Peoples Day, organized by our LEAP office, our Leadership Education Advocacy for Progress office. And we have that's really a great event here. If you ever get a chance to come, Cheryl Kennedy, the chairwoman of the Grand Ronde, who is a Clackamas tribeswoman, has come every year, and this year she keynoted that, and she's such a great storyteller and really tells about this place and helps us really understand sort of when we hear our our land acknowledgement, really puts that in real perspective about what that means to be here. And then there are a number, we hosted it inside this year in Nehemiah, and it was really nice, one, because it poured down rain all day Sunday, but more importantly, just to have everybody there, and we could, there's a lot of dancing, there was some storytelling and a number of other things. Really, really a great event. Thanks, Casey, for all of the work, and your staff for all of the work putting that together. And several people in this room volunteered at that as well to really help that get done. October 22nd from 4 to 7 coming up. Then I guess this is next week at the Harmony campus is going to be a Heritage, Humanity, and Harmony celebration. It's a joyful celebration of the shared humanity and rich diversity that shapes us, honoring traditions, stories, and contributions of our vibrant community, recognizing resilience and spirit that unites us. If you want to know more about that, let us know. I and Katie and board members Joe and Ryan will be attending the Association of Community College Trustees Conference next week, October 21st through the 24th. So we'll be out, and that's always a really good conference to learn from other board members across the country and really find out sort of how people are, doing things at their colleges. So I think that will be a really good time. Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is a Mexican holiday welcoming loved ones who've died back to the land of the living, and our multicultural center is honoring this tradition with you. So Monday, October 27th through Monday, November 3rd, they'll have altar displays on all 3 campuses. And Thursday, October 30th, they're going to celebrate Dia de los Muertos with events at Harmony in Oregon City, painting sugar skulls, hand-making marigold flowers, and socializing with refreshments. So if you want to come participate in that, please do. You've all been invited to the athletic field grandstand groundbreaking ceremony. So this is our first groundbreaking. We will have the gold shovels. So if you want a photo op with your gold shovel digging some dirt, please come October 27th from 3:30 to 5 out at the track. Tuesday, November 11th will be closed for Veterans Day. So lots of activity. Very active. We're in the 3rd week already, which is kind of mind-boggling, but it's going quickly. Things are, in spite of, I try to remind people that in spite of all the things that are happening outside of here and around us that are impacting us, we continue to do what we do well. We educate students, and we make sure this is a place where people feel like they belong. And I'm really proud that, to be a part of that. And so we'll continue to do that. And that's what we do. So that's my report, unless there's any questions for me. Thank you.
No questions? You got off.
Let me off easy.
Anything to share from the board members? Rob, you have anything?
No, just disappointed in the 5% cut coming on potentially.
You and me both.
Hopefully they lighten up between now and February.
I guess I could give a quick update. I'm the vice chair of the Oregon Commission for Women, which is the external committee that I serve on, appointed by the state senate. We have so many amazing people here at the college, and I wanted to say another appreciation for the new people that have joined the team here, and I'm absolutely moved to see new people coming from across the country and those that have lived here for a while step into leadership roles. One of the things that we do at the Oregon Commission for Women is we put on an award ceremony for outstanding women of Oregon, and we're just getting ready to launch that application. So I'll keep everyone posted. This is an award ceremony for women in 3 different categories, women who've been in service for several years, women who have made contributions to Oregon, and then emerging leaders. And once the application's ready, I'll send it out because I'm sure we have some outstanding women to nominate. Thank you.
Wait.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that earlier this month I attended the Clackamas Service Center's Harvest for Hope event. It's their annual fundraising event for their food pantry. And I was glad to see that Clackamas Community College had a table there. I saw Deborah and Sonny and several other people there. It was nice to see them there. But also one of the key speakers at the event was a student from here. I believe his name was Daniel Dodd, and he is associated with the food pantry program here on campus. And he spoke very eloquently as well as professionally about the role of food insecurity and the impacts on students here at the college. And he did a wonderful job. He mentioned Tim's event, and I was just glad to see that he was up there. He was just a real bright spot in the program. So I just wanted to say shout out to him and his efforts for showing up.
You have Ryan?
I'm just looking forward to the conference next week and continuing to dive into this and learning from other institutions. I think particularly around funding and maybe just the side conversations of what are other institutions creatively thinking about and doing and how to respond as well. So that's all.
Okay. Yes. Whichever one you want to do.
Yeah, I'll do that. And one of the things my report was said, but what Tim said, having the meeting here, it was really wonderful to have all of I mean, so many of the presidents and board members here, and they really are impressed by our campus, and it was fun to be able to show them around and watch their jaws drop. So that happened the first Friday of this month, and to mention about what the president, what the governor's thing was doing, so we won't go into that, but also remind you all again that the conference for OCCA conference is going to be November 5th to 7th at Hood River. And Tim is going to be a keynote speaker, and as well as Deborah Mason and Lori and Haley Stupowski and Patty Cook. They'll all be there talking about what it took to make that happen, that wonderful thing happened. So that race happened. And Tim is also not only going to be speaking, but he's also going to be receiving an award of a Howard Cherry Outstanding Administrator Award as well, which is so cool. A lot of, actually, I wish I had the list here because I know Jeff is going to be presenting at 2 different things, and a number of people from our staff and faculty are going to be doing breakout sessions. So it's going to be a good, as always, the OCCA conference is a really good time to meet other people and to learn a lot. So that's coming up. Let's see there, and Lunch and Learn, first one for this year is October 30th, and it's going to be about PERS. So people is it noon on noon on Friday, I believe, October 30th, or no, Thursday? Well, whatever October 30th falls on. Thursday. I should know that, yes. And I think that's almost all I have to do for OCCA. Yeah, that's about it. And I don't have anything else to report other than I've been entertaining people at my house. Both of my boys were with me for 4 whole days from New Jersey and the Bay Area, and I had them. It was great. Put them to work. Yeah. They're over 40. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I have a couple of reports that I'd like to give. The first one I wanted to say, Tim, and to the faculty, you've done a fantastic job with all of the new faculty members that we've just initiated or just met. Starting with Abraham, Josh, Lewis, Myron, Sarah, and the 4 nurses. I mean, it's exciting to see that there are so many coming to this college because we are making it that way. And that's why I want us to say thank you for all the work that you've done, all of you. And to you, Armetta, congratulations on getting that degree. That's fantastic. The second one I want to talk about is the foundation report for October the 15th. Now, as you can see, there's 1 page and a second page. Well, I am not going to read the whole pages, but I will give you the synopsis of what the foundation has been doing this past month. The Cougar Community Campaign is in full swing and runs through the end of October. This is an annual month of giving when CCC staff and community members have the opportunity to direct funds to the programs and resources at the college that they care about the most. CCC staff are the foundation's largest constituency of donors, and for that, we are so grateful. So far, we raised over $18,000 and expect to meet our goal of 50,000. Interested donors can make gifts online and staff members can enroll in payroll deductions. We are investing in the training of our foundation staff. 3 of them attended the CASE Conference for Community College Advancement in New Orleans. This annual conference brings together community college professionals from across the United States and Canada to share ideas, discuss common issues, and build professional relationships with the ultimate goal of enhancing community college advancement efforts. Also in attendance were advancement staff from Central Oregon Community College, Lynn Benton, and Rogue Community College. Staff came away from the conference inspired and eager to implement new learnings into our activities. We are so thankful for this professional development opportunity. The foundation partnered with the financial aid department last week on FAFSA's scholarship night. We had 52 students check in to receive support with the FAFSA and scholarship application. In addition, there were approximately 15 to 20 parents who attended without checking in. The foundation scholarship application period closes on October the 16th, just tomorrow. And they are expecting there will be most of the applicants in our history with 1,700 students submitting this year. We expect to be able to support over 550 students with awards this academic term. Speaking of scholarships, this news is saved for the last for a good reason. As we see the need of our students' population rise, the foundation staff and board of directors have taken a bold step to invest in scholarship support. The CCC Foundation staff and board of directors know the barriers many face in assessing higher education and workforce training, which is why 1 million in funds will be invested this year to support scholarships in perpetuity. The Student Opportunity Scholarship Endowment is designed to challenge ideas about what scholarships worthiness look like? This endowment allows CCC Foundation to recognize and invest in students based on their promise, effort, and plans. Student Opportunity Scholarship supports students of all kinds as they pursue their goals, no matter where they're starting from. To learn more about this, please connect with the foundation. Are there any other reports or comments?
I do have, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I do have one more that I meant to put on your script, and I apologize for this, but at the board retreat, the board did go over the board committees, and I believe I put them in your packet, and just want to confirm that those are all correct, and that we will move forward from this meeting forward with those. So Ryan will be taking over as the liaison of the foundation from our board. Thank you.
Thank you. Rob?
That's all I had to, but we didn't go over the committee assignments.
Okay. It's in the packet, right? Are there any other items? Anyone else with any comments, discussions? If not, the Clackamas Community College Board of Education meeting is adjourned.